Good morning, good afternoon, good middle of the night. This is Michelle Williams, your Survey123 Jedi. And today what we're going to do is we're just going to walk through the whole process of automating a feature report in Power Automate. So coffee chat. I'm just going to tell you a little bit about myself and for today's agenda. We're going to publish Survey123. I'm going to give you a template. We're going to dial in the feature report. I'm going to give you a template, and then we're going to automate it. And there's a how-to document for that because there are a lot of steps that are probably brand new to you. What does this workflow look like? Now, this is my favorite slide, and it's from a long time ago. But nowadays the slides have so much stuff on it, and it's just a little overwhelming. I really like this one. I like the simplicity of it. It just shows you exactly what the steps are. You're going to have your online or your mobile app, Survey123. What do you do with that data is you have dashboards, web apps, experience builder, all those things that pull the live data so that your stakeholders or your field crew know what they're doing in just a glance. PDF reports, we're going to go through that today. That's called the feature report. And we do it in Word. It's going to, if you know Word, it's going to feel very comfortable. And then workflow automation. That's what we're doing today. We are automating our reports to stakeholders. So those reports might be a work order. Maybe the work orders go to a specific crew. Maybe it's a status report to your stakeholders, and that's going to go directly to them. Maybe your PDFs are going to go into a OneDrive, and you need to tell people, hey, your PDFs are over here if you need to go in and look at those. This is how Survey123 can look. We have grid themes, which is like a newspaper, and those newspapers have, we're going to call it 8 cells wide because that's what an iPad is. It's 8 cells wide. And so each cell, you could see the family last name is 1 cell. Head of household is 2 cells. And the family phone number and address book are 2 cells. And then there's that blank cell that's at the very end. So it's like a newspaper. In newspapers, they used to sell things by column and depth, column width and depth. And so you would say, okay, I need an advertisement. I want 2 cells wide and 3 cells deep, something like that. So that's kind of the same idea as this. And it just makes it easier because your field crews aren't sliding their finger across all day long trying to scroll. And then you have your button modes. Button mode's great for phones because like this, your eyes go directly to the colors. And we built this one to look similar to quick capture because they just wanted to be able to touch a button real quickly and have that color so that they didn't have to look for something. And then this on the back end, there is a survey. And so that's why we did it this way, because it's visually appealing to the field crew. The first thing we want to do is we want to find out what version you have of Survey123. Now this slide says 321. 321 was a little while ago. I believe we're at 323 right now because of the Esri conference. They try to make sure that we have a good solid foundation and a new version going forward. They've got a lot of AI going in right now, and so we're going to start working through some of that. Not today, but it's something I'm excited about. So we'll get that, get some trainings out for you soon. So this is the one where it says, did you download everything? And I'm going to show you where all that is so that you can get to that. And then we're going to open Survey123 Connect. Let me see if that's our last screen that we have here. It looks like one more, maybe. Nope. Oh, there's one more. Okay, so I always do this one as the commercial in the very beginning. There are a couple ways that you can work with me. We have free DIY Survey123. We have the beginner course. And I do that. That's all done because we have sponsors. And so that's a beautiful thing. We also do coaching calls. We do it every Tuesday morning. It's $25 a month. We have DIY videos. you can find this DIY video for any of your, anybody in the future. They can always get this at $49, but they won't have access to the live Q&A. And then we have a quarterly membership, and that is if you want all my classes for the next 3 months, plus the coaching calls, that's where you get all of that. And so what you're looking at here is this is the class files, and you'll find that in the invite. And so what I've done is I've given you a lot of information. Just download the whole thing, and then I'll walk through it with you. The first one is loading Survey123, and that's just in case somebody doesn't have Survey123, or maybe you have an old version and you need to update it. The way that you update it, there's a few different ways. You might be in a company portal, and you might have to go in there and resync all of your Survey123 information. Otherwise, go into this video, and you can Google resources for Survey123, and there's a download area. And what you're going to download is you're going to download Survey123, the desktop version, which is the one with the Windows. You're going to download the Connect, which is where we're going to design everything. And then you're going to download on your device, you're going to go in, excuse me, go into your app store and download the Survey123 for your phone. So there are 3 pieces to that. Just make sure that if you do it all now, then they're all going to be good for at least the next 6 months. So right here, you're going to see a link to the YouTube playlist. And all that is, if you open that up, it's just a link. And then let me grab this because it's under my header for Teams. And it's just going to give you all the videos that we have. And today's video will go in here as soon as I do a little editing, and we'll go through that. But anyways, this is what that's going to look like. And I added a little piece of information about all the changes that went through. So folks know that if you've ever taken this class and you need to take it again, just email me and I'll throw you in the next class. Sometimes as the updates come through, it breaks something and you might just need a new refresher, or I can just send you the new how-to document for Power Automate. And then we have all this documentation over here. So you have, okay, so this says hour 2. It actually should say, the spreadsheet should say hour 1. Hour 1, you're going to have one of the 2 spreadsheets. One is the one that's for AGOL, and the other is for enterprise. I found out that enterprise needs to have lowercase names. And so you have a specific Survey123 form, and you have a survey, and you have a specific feature report because they're all lowercase. And then I do have a free class. It's a free coaching call, very similar to the paid version, but this one's because even our new folks have questions and you're at a different level. You guys probably aren't new because you're in Power Automate, but I gave you this opportunity anyways. And so through September, on Tuesday mornings before my paid call, we're just doing this free class. People can come in when you want. You don't have to be here all the time. And then what you're going to do is just ask questions. Bring your Survey123 in and ask questions. I don't teach during that time, but it's a lot of fun when somebody comes in and they have a question. We can work through that on the fly so that you can go back to work and start your job and know, okay, if I have any more questions, Michelle will be here next Tuesday. And so that's what that's all about. I don't want anybody to feel that dredge of, oh, I have to figure this out by myself, and spend 4 hours trying to Google something when you can, come and pop into a meeting for 5 minutes, see if we can help you, and then leave, get back to work. And then the last one is the class workshop notes, and you can print that out. It's a PDF, and you can write your notes in it. Things that you might want to revisit, and maybe put a timestamp on there, so that there's just some spaces for you to do all of that. I think that's it. This one here, this PDF here, is for hour 3, and that's the Power Automate. And we update that whenever there's a change. So come back in here at any time. If you're working on Power Automate, come back into this class and just grab the new new PDF. That'll help you out. All right, so today what we're going to do is we are just going to download those Excel files. I'm going to do the regular and one of the Word documents, whichever one works good for you for the feature report. See if that worked. There it is. And I think that's all that I need. Like I said, download all of this, put it in a folder so you always have it, and then revisit it when you need to. That link to the playlist will always be updated. The playlist gets updated. The link will always stay the same. So once, if you're working on this in 3 months, come back, grab whatever's new, and then you'll have it. So the first thing we're going to do is open up Connect. That's the one with the little black pencil next to the icon. If you are fresh to Survey123, welcome. Your Survey123 Connect will not look like this if you're brand new. I do a lot of trainings, so you'll notice lots of dates and there's some fun things in there. So go in here to New Survey and click on that. All right, for the title, let's go ahead and add Family Address Book. And then let's put the date in there. I have an old date. '24. And we're going to do File because we just downloaded that file. Hit Select and go to your downloads. And here it is. That's the one we're going to use. And hit Create Survey. And the way that I like to set this up is I like to do about 1/3 over here somewhere. And then edit enabled. And I like to bring this one over here to the side. Then you can see it all on one table. Plus, when you start working with that feature report, you can use your other monitor. I hope you have 2 monitors. This Survey123 can get complicated with just one screen. And I hope you have big monitors. Okay. Here's what we have. I have some notes in here. These are really for you. These aren't for, our end users. But what we're looking at here is the family's last name. And that's going to be, it's a select one. And then coming down here, I have a copy of a username. And the reason for that is we all need usernames, because if somebody's going out into the field, it's nice for us to have the user's name so they don't have to put in their username. There are a couple other pieces of code that you can use to actually get their full name, but this will get you close. This tells you, who they are as far as their AGUL login. And what you're doing here is the username is hidden. It's just one of those hidden fields. They don't give you the option to see it. So what I did is I copied it and put some code in over here, which is the $ curly bracket username. What that does is, just for those of you who need to know, it just pulls the data, the answer from username, and sticks it into the next cell. That's why you're seeing my AGUL username. And then we've had a household, family photo, or family phone. We defaulted that, but I also put a mask in there. So if you scroll all the way down into input mask, you're going to have numbers and letters options. And what you can do here is, you see I have the brackets and I have the 999s, and then I have 999 and a dash. What that's going to do for you is that's going to make sure that in your output, that's what it's going to look like. It's going to say the 9s are numbers, that represents numbers. If you have a capital A, that's going to be a capital letter. If you have a lowercase a, that is a lowercase letter. Don't use this mask for names, because names are different sizes. So if you have like a capital letter and lowercase, what you're going to get is they have to have that many letters. So don't do it for that. But maybe part numbers that are always the same, or ID numbers, that's where those work really nicely. And then down here we have our location. You'll notice that mine is required. And the reason for that is if you don't require it, they could be they could get dropped off at Null Island, and that's 00, and you know where that is because we've all been there. Addresses, city, state, zip, all of that. Zip, I always tell people, zip codes are not integers, even though to us they're visually integers. Make that one a text. And the reason for that is in some areas, a number is going to have 3 digits and a comma and the rest of the digits. So if you make it a text, we're also not calculating anything from it. We're not doing any math on this. So a text works really beautifully. And then coming down, you have the automation of the date. And just in case you don't know, if you come out here to calculations, there's the date for today. And then down here, you'll see family members is in blue. I made mine green. I probably could have made that blue. But there is a code to make sure that this color comes up. And what you do is you put it in the beginning repeat right here. And then you just come all the way down and you find the code, and that's where it is. And if you need a different color, so if you come into Chrome, and put your hex code in there, it'll pull up this color picker, and you can just come in here. Let's do green, some kind of a green. And then grab the hex color right there. And then you can come back into Survey123 and you can paste that in there and paste it in this side too. I gave you both because one is an outline and you might want that, but I typically do both of them the same. And do a save, and you'll notice that something's going to happen. So now when you scroll down, now it's a green, not the same green, but close enough. And then when you come down here, this is the repeat. So this is that related table that's going to make sure that it's going to make sure that your main survey data and all the things that are in the repeat. So the main survey is where you're going to put a fire hydrant or something, and all the information that's going to stay static is going to be there. But when you do the inspections, you're going to go out every 6 months or 3 months or whatever that looks like, and you're going to recheck that. That's going to be all this information that's in the repeat. So you might check flow, you might check paint. Is it flaking? Do we need to get a crew out there? I don't know a lot about hydrants, but you know what we're talking about here. And then I put a photo in there, and then what do you want to be when you grow up? So the idea with the family address book is my mom and I, we send this out before school starts, because we want a picture of the kids before school starts, maybe first day of school or something. And then we want to know all their gifts that they want. You know, what are they interested in? Because all the holidays are coming in. And so we want to front load our holidays and birthdays and things like that with all of this year's information. So there is all of that. And for heritage purposes, you know, we can figure out, you know, where we are. Down here, this is just a cool piece of code that I used early in my career, and I figured everybody probably needs it. You might have a work order that needs to be revisited. Maybe the work order gets done, and you know, and then they usually get done, you know, at a specific amount of time, and then we have to go out and reinspect them. And so 17 days later, we're going to go reinspect and make sure that that work order was done, and then we can close out the work order. So that's what that's for. If you decided 17 days isn't perfect for you, maybe you need 24 days. That's what that's going to look like. It's going to give you 24 days, and that's the calculation that you'll get. All you have to do is copy and paste that code into your survey, and you'll have all of this. There's also some hyperlinks. And that was a lot of fun for me to figure out, you know, when you go into the Esri community and you figure these things out. And so that's why I put them in here. I put them in here so you don't have to go look them up. They're here for you when you need it. And then a piece of code that I love is this version. And that's going to tell you what version they're using of the Survey123 app, because you never know what they're using if you don't see this. And if somebody has trouble, then you need to do some troubleshooting. And this is the first place that I go. I first go check, are they on the most up-to-date version? And I can see this on the back end. And so that deduces, okay, we don't have to work on that, updating their software. Now we got to go figure out what the real problem is. And sometimes your troubleshooting can take a long time. Just let you know that those HEEC files that the iPhone has, this is one that I spent a lot of hours on. It wasn't converting when it went up to the cloud through Survey123. And so, and I talked to the folks and I'm trying to figure out, okay, well, why isn't this converting? It should convert. Yeah. And it was, it just took a long time. So back and forth with the end user. Come to find out, he was dragging files from the OneDrive into his Survey123 and uploading those HEEC files. Well, Survey123 can only convert the HEEC files if they're taken in Survey123. So keep that in mind. I've already done the hard work. There were no billable hours that were optimal for that, so I had to eat all those. So that's where that is. All right. So now that we've kind of gone through all of that, you're feeling good about the whole situation. Let's go through and figure out what else is in here. For details, this is where you're going to update your thumbnail. This is where you're going to put your summary and your description. Your thumbnail is usually a PNG. Keep that one word because if you have two words, and the .png, the browser won't see it. And if you need it in the browser, you need to put one word. Something else I learned along the way. And that your thumbnail is going to go in your media folder if I didn't say that. And then come over here. And so here, this is where all your settings are. Now, I always put update to the latest rev. You may have a reason you don't want to do that, and that's okay. I like to make sure that I have control over the end user's updates, because otherwise they just won't update. And so I require that. Allow new surveys to be collected. Most of the time, we will say yes. And since you're more advanced, if you append data on the back end, you may say no, because now you're using the inbox and you're updating that way. So those are the two choices, and why I would not. That's why I would use one or the other. Show location indicator on map in all folders. I don't really know what that is, because when you say all folders, I don't know. So you can keep it on or off. Enable overview folder. It's your choice. That's not going to affect anything. Since this is a repeat, I would probably say enable inbox. And I would say enable inbox, and I would turn the sent box off. And the reason for that is you can't have two of the same files in your device. So if you enable if you enable inbox, don't enable sent box, because the sent box will hold on to that file. And then when you try to get that same file back into the inbox, it gets stuck because two can't be in the same place. So keep that in mind. If you will ever use the inbox, don't use the sent box, because when those files are in the sent box, now you have to go in and tell your end user, when you're using the inbox, can you go delete all those files that are in your sent box? And then the map's great, because you can tell the end user which map you want them to use. But they have the option to switch back and forth if they need something else. So whatever map is the one that you want them to use, that's the one that you're going to go for. And then the media folder, that's where you're going to put your CSVs and your media or your PNG for your thumbnail and many other things. But for now, that's where you're going to put that. Linked content, there won't be anything in here yet. Once you publish this, there's going to be some links going from ArcGIS Online. Scripts, that's where your scripts are going to go. There's a great template inside Survey123 that has a script in it. I believe it's a police template, and because it auto calculates addresses. And then schema, I don't use these. These are just, they're great there if you need them, but I don't typically use them. So what we're going to do is we're going to publish this. Let me give you a quick overview on what's on the left. So you've got your Survey123. You have your update button. When you add something to your media folder, use your update button. It does the handshaking. Here's your files, and that's going to open you up to the project files, everything here. There's your media folder, a script folder, and then this is all the files that Survey123 creates for you. Tools. The only tool I've used so far is this updating templates. And this is great when you have an old Survey123 and you're really trying to bring it into the new century. Typically, if it's working, I would leave it. If you're starting to do some new things, you may want to update it because you may start adding something that affects the newer version to the old version. So there's a lot of tools that are brand new. We have folks that are on 3.13, 3.14, and those folks, if you're there, I get some every single time that I'm doing this class. Update your Survey123s, all of them, because you'll have all the great tools going forward, and then gently start updating your templates and then republishing. We do not want to break anything. So if it's working, like I said, if it's working, that's great. As you're improving them for the next version, update them. Or if they're broken, there's probably something wonky going on. So go ahead and update them there. That's going to be a good tool for you. The only thing I need to tell you is close the the Excel form before you do that, because it's a Python script and it needs to be closed for that. I hope that helps. And then we're going to publish. So we go into options and we enable sync. I enable sync every time. And I'm just going to tell you, we're trying to get all of these that should be normally on, and we're still trying to get Esri to fix all of those. Enable sync is where your computer is allowed to hold on to the data if they're offline. And even if you're in a city, you may have a dead zone, and it might be really small, but someday somebody's going to be in that dead zone and they're going to need to save their information. And if they don't have this on, then they can't do that. So keep all of that in mind. Analyze. Analyze is great because, and this was something new in 3.17. You have this analyze link, and you just click on that. And it's going to tell you exactly what's wrong with your survey. And these are just suggestions, but sometimes they have some important suggestions. The challenge question note, because it's a note, it doesn't need to have anything in the name field. And it says that my template is outdated. I'm okay with the outdated. It's not that bad. It's just one rev back. But the challenge question, I'm going to show you why. So here's the challenge question. You'll notice that I have two notes. One is blank here, and one has text. And that's because in the legacy, you used to put the text in here, and then you would come way out here and put null in the field type. If you want to do that, that's fine. It's an extra step. If you don't want to put null, then just leave this part blank. When you leave name blank on the notes, it does not create a field in the attribute table. So that's going to be a lot of fun for everybody. I'm going to save this. I'm going to close this, and we are going to publish anyway. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to go in and set our permissions. All right, so if yours is set up to filter by the last items that you did, your family address book will be right here in your All My Content. It's also going to be in the folder for Family Address Book under Survey123. I'll show you that. Family Address Book. And then today's date right here. And so everything will be in here. So it's clean, and now you know where everything is. When you do Survey123, they always, when you publish, it's always in its own folder. I thought that was really genius when they did that in the very beginning. Now what we're going to do is we're going to go in and make a few setting adjustments. We have a hosted view and we have hosted. The hosted view is just a view of this hosted version, and that's so that your stakeholders can't change anything if you use that one. So I'm going into the one that we want to use. And then we're going to go into settings, because that's where we're going to make sure that everything is correct. There are a few pieces of new information. Is it authoritative? Are we deprecating it? I like those. Prevent this item from being accidentally deleted. If this is your final version, you probably want to lock that in. Public data collection. For a family address book, I would say yes, because most of your folks will not have AGOL accounts. Enable editing, look at that, track changes of data. So I haven't been in here since all the updates. So this is great to be able to see what the changes are. Keep track of changes in the field, add, delete. Okay, so this looks different than my screenshot on my how-to document. So this is wonderful. Normally, I would do that. There would be normally, if you're used to this is what you're used to. This is a little different, so this is great because I can update my document and you can be updated too. And then enable sync is already on. That's beautiful. And then we have down here, we have add, delete, update. Perfect. So that's been changed to what we normally use. That's beautiful. And then allow update of true curves. I'm not using true curves on this one because it's just a family address book. I don't know if that locks in something specific, but I'm not going to be using it and it might take extra data. So I'm going to turn that one off. Editors, all of that. That looks good. Check that. Editing. Features editors can see. That looks good. Editors can edit all features. Okay. And access to anonymous editors. Only add features. Beautiful. That's a lovely thing right there. Export data. I like to say yes to export data because eventually we're going to want to export something, CSV file, and those type of things. So if you do that now, you won't have to do it when you're making your dashboards or web app builder. Let's do a save. Once that's done, we're going to go into our 9 dots. 9 dots, hit your Survey123. Here's this one, and we're going to hit collaborate. Now, this first one is editing the browser. We are not using the browser, so don't do anything in here. Collaborate. We're going to come in here. And then this is where you're going to get your links. And depending on which one you choose, your links are going to be different. You can also grab your QR code here. Who can submit surveys? Well, if it's a public one, we'd say public. If not, then we'll hit, a specific person, whatever that looks like. What can submitters do? They're going to add new records. Do we want a draft mode? Multiple submissions? Yes, because that's what we want them to do. And survey status is going to be open. Let's do a save. Save. That just says that we're sharing the web app to everybody. Web app. And then we need to take our first survey. Let's check it out. Always good to have some data in there. Make sure everything works. I'm not going to put a picture in here at this time because I'm on camera. And then let's do see if there's anything that's required. All right, submit. Oh, that is required. Submit. All right. So that is how we do Survey123 from the beginning. We're going to put we just published everything. We gave permissions, and then we submitted our first survey.